Next time you feel that urge to use porn, maybe there's a desire for connection, but if you slow down and really tune into what else is present, I encourage you to notice, like, what else is there? Is there anxiety? Is there overwhelm? Is there stress? Is there fatigue present? And I suspect that you'll notice that there's some other kind of pressing feelings present along with that urge to act out. Welcome, brothers. Welcome to today's episode of the Porn to Purpose podcast. We are your hosts. My name is Matthew Sinkovitz. This is my esteemed colleague.
What's up, listeners? Podcast land, how y'all doing?
Hello. I think that's what Yeadon prefers to be called, esteemed colleague.
Much estimation.
A little more dignified twist on it. Brothers, we're honored to have you back here with us again today. And today we're really focusing this episode on the conversation as it relates to fathers. As Yeadon and I have been continuing to dialogue and dial in our message here inside the Porn to Purpose community, we've been getting more and more clear on the concept that fathers are the ones that in this journey have the most at stake, have the most to lose. And Yeadon, coming from this work and having so many men having come through the Porn to Purpose community, we're continuing to dial this message in to serve fathers and husbands who are on this path. And today we want to tailor the episode a little bit to speak to fathers. And what we'd love to share with you today, men, are 3 ideas that every father should know coming into this work, or 3 things that maybe are not immediately obvious upon coming into this work, or maybe 3 things that don't become apparent, until further along on the journey. So we kind of want to give you some cheat codes, if you will, give you some ideas to help you along the path here.
Okay, first off, when you said that right there, it triggered something in my mind, Matt. Okay, we got to start this episode off right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, since this one is kind of aimed towards dads, obviously we got to start this episode off with the dad joke.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay. How do you know when a regular joke becomes a dad joke?
When it sucks.
Okay, one, not wrong, but not the answer I'm looking for. That would be the answer my boys would give me. When it's a terrible joke, no. A joke turns into a dad joke when it becomes apparent.
Oh my goodness.
But thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be here all week.
Wow. And that's why we keep them around, folks. That's why we keep them around.
Please don't tune out the rest of the podcast. Wow. I promise it's not that bad.
A dad joke about dad jokes.
A dad joke about dad jokes. That's right.
Good stuff. Thank you. So in the spirit of dad jokes, let's go ahead and dig into our first little piece of the puzzle, our little cookie crumble that we're going to leave on the path of recovery here today. And that is, we've talked about this one before, that your problem with porn is not just about sex. And I would even argue that it's primarily not about sex, but it's about everything going on inside you which drives you to porn. So a more succinct way to say it might be, you don't have a porn problem, you have a pain problem. And this was something I began to discover along my journey, and I want to invite you, Yeadon, into this conversation and share your experience with this piece of the puzzle specifically as well. But I began to see that as my journey developed, it wasn't just about sex for me. Oftentimes, I noticed that when I would use pornography, or when the urge to use porn shows up, it's very often not just about sex. It feels like a sexual urge, but what I've begun to notice is, like, very often it's accompanied by other kind of distressing feelings: fatigue, stress, fear, loneliness. And what I've begun to see over time is that I've used porn, and many men use porn as a solution to what's going on inside of them, to deal with life as a sort of a coping mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
So think about it. You don't have a porn problem, you have a pain problem. And what I want to invite you to consider is the next time you feel that urge to use porn, maybe there's a desire for connection, but if you slow down and really tune into what else is present, I encourage you to notice, like, what else is there? Is there anxiety? Is there overwhelm? Is there stress? Is there fatigue present? And I suspect that you'll notice that there's some other kind of pressing feelings present along with that urge to act out.
I would agree 100%, right? It's one of the myths, and we've talked about this on other episodes in the podcast, like one of the myths that men believe, and I believed it, surrounding porn is, I have a high sex drive. I'm not getting the sex that I want.
Right.
And this is my out. I'm not going to bother my wife, right? It's an outlet. But when I really got into it, when I really started analyzing what was going on for me, it was never about sex. Mm-hmm. It was about feeling validated, feeling affirmation, right? Because how many of you, if you're a dad out there, tell me I'm wrong and I'll wait, right? You're out there working hard at the job, right? You're making money, providing for the family, making the house payment, making the car payment, paying for the insurance, paying for the groceries, right? You're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. And then what happens? You ask your 10-year-old to pick up her wet towel that she just drops on the floor in her room, and she yells at you. And you're thinking, like, it's like what's his name? Rodney Dangerfield is like, no respect, right? You're like, does anybody see what I'm doing here? Does anybody have any idea of the punches that I take every single day? No, they don't. And we turn to porn because it's this fantasy, fake, imitation validation. Yeah. You don't have to do anything. You can just be and kind of receive this artificial, phony, counterfeit validation that doesn't really work. The problem with it is it almost works.
That's it.
It almost works, right? We reach for porn when the pain hits, and it almost works.
Yep.
So yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
It's not so much a porn problem as it is a pain problem, and porn is the pill that we're taking to manage that pain. Yeah. And it happens, I don't want to say every day, because somebody will be in the comments like, actually, right? It's a constant thing. It's a constant story in a father's head that nobody appreciates me. Nobody sees how hard I'm pushing, how much I'm carrying to make life work for this family that I love. So yeah, absolutely right, dude.
An edgy idea that we've discovered through our collective work here as a community is that porn is not actually the problem. Porn is actually the solution that we've been reaching for to deal with the problem that's going on inside of us.
Some might call that an unpopular opinion. Unpopular opinion, porn is not the problem.
It's a bit of a mind bender. Yeah. So,
dude, I love that.
You don't have a porn problem, you have a pain problem, okay? Number 2, this one's almost so simple. I think it could go unnoticed or maybe over some people's heads. And that is that in this journey, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And success comes through swinging singles. Who said that? It was like one of these early personal development guys. Simple success comes through swinging singles. Have you heard that one, Yeadon?
I have now.
I heard that one early on. It's like success comes through or comes to the man, the person who's willing to get up every single day and just do the basics, just do the simple shit, right? And that's what we teach here inside the community. Now, of course, as part of this work, there's deep, critical inner healing that we get to do and rewriting of the story, right? And shifting of a relationship of shifting the relationship with ourselves and doing the internal work, critical. In the long game, the success of the long game comes through the man who's willing to get up every single day, hit his core 4 every single day, do his habits every single day, check in with the community, show up on the calls, and engage in the regular, boring, not so exciting daily work of maintenance, which is the daily work of recovery.
You know, when you're talking about like swinging singles,
Yep.
first thing that comes to my mind is brushing my teeth.
Yep.
Flossing my teeth.
Yep.
There was a time that I remember when my wife and we finally decided, it's like, okay, we got to do grown-up stuff now. Set an appointment with the dentist. We all go to the dentist, all 6 of us. Don't ask me how much that cost. I don't want to talk about it. But we go, and my wife and I, like, we had not been to the dentist in years and years and years. And because of the lack of maintenance for our teeth, I mean, we would brush, and, you know, it's like you floss twice a year kind of thing. Like, so much blood when you floss. So my wife needed a root canal. Some of the kids had cavities. My teeth apparently are like iron. My teeth were fine. But I think about the dailiness. If you go, I mean, do you have to floss your teeth every day? Dentists might say yes. It's like with the way most habits work, you have to be consistent.
Yep.
90 to 95% of the time for them to actually serve you. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, they're not really, it's just something you do kind of if and when the motivation lands.
Yep.
But the regular tooth care, brushing your teeth, flossing your teeth, yep, going to the dentist, you know, once a year, twice a year, however often we're supposed to do it. Mm-hmm. I think every 6 months, something like that. The regular maintenance. I mean, I want to have all my teeth when I'm 80.
Yep.
The only way I'm going to get there is with 5 minutes a day of taking care of them.
Yep.
It's not complicated.
Yep.
It's real simple. Yep. But man, some days it is a pain in the ass.
It sure is.
Well, if it's a pain in the ass, then you're flossing in the wrong spot. So don't do it that way, right? Right? It's a pain to do the everyday routines.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. I think what I've noticed, and I've been guilty of this myself, is that I think a lot of times people come into this work and they think, I want the solution. I just want to be fixed. And when I get the solution, when I join the program, when I do the thing, it'll be fixed and this will be behind me. And what I've come to find is that, man, you know what? I think everyone's got their drug of choice. And, you know, in the 12-step community, I'm not a fan of this language, but I kind of see what they're coming from. They call addiction a disease. And they say it is this thing that we have, and it will always be there. It will always be there. Now, what we can do, and the idea is that it's progressive. And I'm like, yeah, porn has definitely been progressive in my life, just like alcoholism or whatever else. But the thing is there's a spiritual solution, and over time it can be arrested, so it can become dormant. Yeah, it's like maybe like Lyme's disease or something like that. Okay. And I'm like, okay, so I don't want to just like take on this idea that I have a disease, but I do see what they're getting at here with this concept of the disease talk. So it is progressive, and over time it can be arrested, but that also requires the daily maintenance. And what the daily maintenance piece means, if I don't stay on top of my habits, if I neglect myself too long, if I allow myself to operate in the middle circle or operate in the red too long, we've all got our drug of choice, and over time, it's likely I'm going to drift back to my drug of choice. Right? I let my habits go, my food go, my energy, my mood, everything starts falling apart. I might find myself back down in that pit, right? I suspect most, if not all, if not a lot of people have something similar. Everyone's got something. For us, this has been one of our drugs of choice. It's been my drug of choice, that and food. So with that, we get to show up and we get to maintenance this daily. And that's where the success comes from. I think we can have radical big shifts, but the real long-term success, the real long-term sobriety I've come to see comes to showing up the daily and doing the boring stuff is the daily maintenance.
Absolutely right. I remember something that I read from a book that my grandmother had growing up. these words of wisdom was the name of the book. And one of the sayings in it was, the problem with life is it is so daily.
Yes. I love that.
It's so daily,
Yep.
right? There's some things you got to do every day.
Yep.
Maybe sometimes you get a break, but generally not.
Yep. And it's also very interesting, not to toot Yeadon's horn, but it seems to be the men who are the most consistent in showing up to their daily habits that also have the most success in their sobriety streaks. And it's really interesting to see, because every single week we get on our group calls and we take a look at our trackers, say, how you doing in your habits? How you doing showing up in your daily maintenance and your daily structure that we provide as a community here? And the correlation between that and sobriety.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. The man who's consistent is typically the man who's going to be on track into sobriety. The man who's got a spotty tracker, likely he's had a bumpy week, or oftentimes he's had a bumpy week, or at least in the middle circle.
You know, I think of this scene from the movie Moneyball when we're talking about singles. And it's a scene. Brad Pitt is the new general manager of the Oakland A's back in whenever he was, not Brad Pitt, but the actor is playing this character as the manager of the Oakland A's. And he's rebuilding the team based purely on statistics. And all these old school baseball scouts are like, why do you want him? He can't hit, he can't hit, he can't run, blah, blah, like all these reasons why traditionally this guy is not a good baseball player. Mm-hmm. And Brad Pitt's character is like, we want this guy because he gets on base. His on base percentage is really high. Does he hit doubles? No. Does he hit home runs? No. But 50% of the time he's at bat, he gets to first base.
Yep.
And if you can't get to first base, you're never going to get back around to home plate.
Yep.
It's like, what does it take just to get on base? Hitting a singles win games.
That's it. That's it, man. So, simple success, swinging singles. It's the daily regiment, brothers. Okay.
What's the third one, dude?
Number 3. Let's bring it on home. Now, this is one. The first two could probably broadly apply to anyone on this journey, and I think they all do. But number 3, I think, hits home specifically, and this one kind of dispels this myth or this rumor or this story that a lot of us carry, or maybe have carried around our relationship with pornography. It's that, I recognize that it's maybe something I don't want to be engaging in, but at least I'm not hurting anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe people totally justify it by saying, hey, I'm not hurting anybody else. It's my thing I do. It's my pacifier, right? But it's kind of my own thing. Or maybe to kind of touch on Yeadon's story a little bit, maybe I'll never get this figured out for myself, but at least if I can get it figured out for my kids, that will suffice, or that will have to do. And I heard a haunting concept, as I've come along in this journey, and it's something that stuck with me. Yeadon can quote it beautifully from the Bible. Maybe he'll bless you with that. But the idea is that which is left unhealed or unresolved in you, brother, will be passed on to your children. How many of you brothers listening to this episode, to this conversation here today, can identify something in your life that was maybe passed on to you or that you inherited from your parents? Right? I know I can point some of the inheritance that was left to me to resolve and to do, and there's no blame around that. But I think it's generational healing work, and I think it's up to us, it's up to you, it's up to me for us to be doing our work and to resolve this and clean this kind of generational wound up so we don't pass it on to the next generation. We get to do our work and end the cycle.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, what you said, the unhealed trauma, the wounds we don't heal in ourselves become trauma for the next generation.
Yep.
And I did find the Bible reference. It's Exodus 34:7. Now, this is kind of a dark verse. It's a warning. It's also a wake-up call, right? This is the New International Version. Exodus, Old Testament writing, talking about how merciful God is. Yet he does not leave guilty unpunished. He punishes the children and their children for the sin of the parents to the third and fourth generation. Mm. So even in Christianity, there's this concept that what we don't heal with ourselves is going to get passed on.
Yep.
And I know that's the reason why I jumped into the Liberation Bootcamp, because I wanted to find tools for my children. And it turns out I found them for myself. I had to do the work on myself first. Now, I mean, anytime I'm in a vehicle with one of my boys solo, I'm like, so, found anything good on the internet lately? And they're like, no, Dad. And we have a big set. We have a real solid tech framework around their phones. So they can't get on Pornhub or any of the explicit videos, but every now and then, maybe a podcast on Spotify that is more explicit than it should be, or just there's stuff out there, even with solid tech framework, that a teenage boy is most likely going to find. Yeah. And being able to have a conversation with them from a place of peace and power instead of fear and failure.
Yes.
It's made such a huge difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, brothers, we've talked about these three maybe hidden or often overlooked pieces of the puzzle, or maybe pieces of the puzzle that don't become obvious or evident until we're further along the journey, further along the path. And we want to serve you and support you in your journey, brothers, by helping to illuminate these critical insights that we found to be so valuable in our journey. So Yeadon, what's the invitation here today as it relates to this conversation?
So invitation, brother, one, give us a like, give us a review on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. Give us a review of this podcast. It really helps spread the word with this message of recovery and freedom from porn. The other invitation we would have is check us out at porntopurpose.com. You can download our Freedom Framework. Is it Freedom Accelerator or Freedom Framework Accelerator?
Yeah, Freedom from Porn Accelerator.
Freedom from Porn Accelerator. We got a free download that we want to get to you on a tool that I use, Matt uses, that we use regularly in this recovery journey to maintain sobriety in doing the work on ourselves. And if you want to have a conversation, there's a link on the website. You can reach out to us directly. Private conversation about where you are. If we can support you on this recovery journey, our invitation is shoot us a message, shoot us a DM, something. We want to talk.
Yep.
But you're not alone.
Yep. Beautiful work. Thank you, Yeadon. Thanks for joining here, brothers. Today, we'd love to hear from you as you reflect upon this conversation and, consider the implications of this work in your life and how ready and willing you are to make the shifts to clean it up. Love you, brother. Thanks for being here today. We appreciate you.
Always good to be behind the microphone. Listeners out there, thank you for tuning in.
Boom, boom. Peace, power.
Peace and power. We're noble men.
Bye-bye.